Hello, hello. All right, it should be working now. Can y'all hear me? Hello. Hey, y'all. What's going on? It should be working now. Can you guys hear me? Let me know. Should be working now. All right. All right. Where have y'all gotten in the book? I know that this has been a long time coming for some of us. Some of us got lost in the standstill after reading the book. And I know I have been keeping my box set on the shelf for quite a while, so I am glad to finally get into this. No, for some reason my mic wasn't working. I had to switch back to the regular mic on the computer. Let me see. All right, there we go. She should be able to come into the broadcast now. All right.
Awesome. Can y'all hear me? Ari, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, great.
I don't want us to get any feedback or anything like that. All right. So how have you been doing with this book? I know I had some trouble getting through the prologue.
I'm really excited for us to get the read along started. So I actually, how Chloe had originally laid out the read along, I waited to start until today. So I'll start along with anyone who's starting today on this sprint. But this will be a reread for me of the series. So I started reading the series in February 2019. So that's when I read the 5th season for the first time, and I ended reading through the trilogy by the end of 2020. So I actually recently finished the trilogy, but
Okay.
I'm obsessed with this trilogy. It is one of my favorite things I've ever read. I'm pretty sure it's my favorite trilogy that I've read so far, and I'm obsessed with N.K. Jemisin. So I'm really excited. And I did hear you mention your having the box set and having it be on your shelf. So when I read it over the course of 2019 and 2020, the first time, it was through checking it out from the library. So I actually did not own it, which is like very story of my life. I don't actually own a lot of my favorite books. I'm starting to own them now. But I bought the trilogy for myself recently. So I'm very, very excited. So I literally just took the plastic off. So
I just took the one that I was gonna read out. So the other one is over there on the shelf.
yeah.
So
and yeah, also we've never met each other, so I feel like we should do a little like introduction for ourselves here.
Okay.
In case anyone else in the stream also don't know us well, I'm sure there are people who watch you and people who watch me coming together in this little first video here.
Okay, well, if you all don't know me, my name is Ari. I am a trans non-binary bookish person. I started my channel maybe 8 or 9 months ago, and I've just really been enjoying just doing my own thing, trying to, figure things out and everything. It's been fun. I have, if you're not following me on Instagram, I have an Instagram page. It's Boricua Reads 91. And if you're not following me on Twitter, it's the same handle, of course. And, I just am a person who likes to talk about, queer books, mostly queer, people of color, and things like that. I have hosted book clubs and everything. It's actually been quite rewarding this, pandemic, finding something new to do. So it's been just fun for me these past few months. So I hope that everybody else just, subscribe and watch some of the other videos and everything.
Awesome. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Sherry. My YouTube channel is Obsidian Text and Tangents. I also have an Instagram and Twitter that are variations on that based on the word character limit. So um, go to my channel on YouTube and then click the little buttons at the top and it'll take you to those. My reading, especially for my channel, is very much centered around Black authors, Black stories. That is what I read, like 90% of what I read. And I am heavy into sci-fi and fantasy and all the mixtures thereof. So Afrofuturism, African futurism in Juju. It's where I'm at. So I actually really started getting back into reading heavily in like 2019, and fifth season like kicked off that reignition because when you be going through school, my leisure time was not spent reading more things. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but when I finished grad school, I was like, yeah, I'm back to reading for fun. And fifth season was a great choice to kind of kick off that beginning of that season because it really reignited me. So I love all the sci-fi and the fantasy involved in this story, and I'm excited to share with everyone else.
So I'm gonna geek out for a minute here because Injeri is in the chat, and like
yes.
this is crazy because she's never actually come in. So hi, how are you? And hi to everyone else. I hope that you all are enjoying the book. I'm kind of geeking right now because like she's never showed up here. So hi, how are you?
Yes. Hi to everyone in the chat. Okay, so you made me remember. I was like, I should look at the video on the via my phone. So I see some people who I am familiar with from over the past year. Oh, I should mention I started my YouTube channel in July of 2020, so I'm also pretty new. I haven't even hit a year yet, but I participated in quarantine pages that Injeri created and was hosted by some other people. So, and then I've since been doing the OEB slow read, the Octavia Butler slow read. And so I see a lot of crossover from those two places in our comments here. So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining.
I wanted to do the slow reads for the Octavia Butler books, but I didn't have them here, and they are pretty popular in New York. So getting them as an ebook or an audiobook is a no-no up here, especially in Brooklyn and NYPL system. Even though we have two libraries, it's so hard to get a hold of certain books. So
nice. Well, not nice, but I feel like so because we're going through the entire her entire bibliography, maybe, and we're about to finish kind of like a series. You should like look at what the next one like after the series finishes. My bind up is called Seeds to Harvest, so I don't know what it like what the I think that's the whole bind up call for the series, but it has like Wild Seed and stuff in there and Clay's Arc and all that jazz. You should look at what the next one is and then try to put a hold on it now. Maybe it'll be there in time.
Yeah, hopefully.
Because it'll be like probably like a 4 to 6 month little, it maybe will come. Also what Melanin Eclectic said.
I've actually I have a book club that I'm a part of, and it's one of my friends from North Carolina. Him and some of his friends got together and they formed a book club, and they actually had Sister Sci-Fi on to to do a discussion about Nayla Hopkinson's book Midnight Robber,
Mm-hmm.
and like I missed it. That was my bad. But yeah, I've actually spoken to her a couple of times, and she's really cool. So yeah, I have checked her out. It's just that, sometimes money comes, money goes, and then I can't go and buy stuff from the store. I really do want to though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I feel you on that. I read most of my stuff from checking them out of the library system. I'll be waiting for a while for a hold. I was like, 6 months, all right. Let me just make a note that that's when I'm going to read this later.
Okay, question. Do y'all want to do 15 minutes or 20?
Yeah. How y'all feeling in the chat? I'm kind of feeling a longer sprint just to get us started since NK kind of requires a little bit of concentration. Also in the chat, drop where you are in the book. Have y'all started the 5th season yet? If so, where are you? If you haven't, or if you haven't, let us know too. Let me know who's on my team who haven't started their reread yet.
I am on chapter 7. So that's where I'm at right now.
Nice.
I kind of got a like head start because I did hold a mid-weekly sprint on Tuesday. So a lot of us came in and got a little bit of a head start. So
Nice. All
okay.
right. Well, we'll lag a little bit behind you, overachievers.
Okay. So everybody's pretty much kind of in the same place almost. So, well, all it's okay. I will be holding another one on Tuesday. So Tuesdays at 7. I made it that way so that people who work could come home and we can do a short sprint, and then, they could still get ready for work the next day. So I'm going to start a 20-minute timer because most of the people said 20 minutes. And happy reading.
Happy reading, everyone. See you in 20.
All right, that was our 20 minutes.
Yes, it was. I forgot how much I really enjoyed. Well, I knew like in my brain how much I really enjoyed the prologue, but I forgot how much I enjoyed it, like in my body while I read it. It's so good.
Yeah, so yeah, the prologue kind of I ended up having to read it a couple times before I was just like, okay, so what is this hinting at? I didn't quite understand at first, and it was just like, oh, okay, maybe it's just not made for us to understand all of it. So it's just like, okay, I'm gonna read it again. So yeah, I did end up reading it a couple times because it was just okay. I didn't understand it at first.
Yeah, the first time I listened to the prologue, I got about halfway through. I remember I was washing dishes. I got about halfway through and I was like, let's restart. I was like, this
Yeah,
feels so epic. And also let's restart. But I love that. And so when I restarted, it was because I realized that, oh, this is just like telling me things that will make sense later, but I'm not supposed to understand like what's going on. Besides just getting an orientation to like this is taking place on one large continent that just got ripped in half by this person who has abilities that will probably be further explained later.
yeah,
And just like an introduction that there's like a lot of movers and players. There was an empire. And just like in the bit about when they're talking, um, when she's doing the bit of background, like right before um, he ends the world, and it talks about him reaching. So it says, and then he reaches forth with all the fine control that the world has brainwashed and backstabbed and brutalized out of him, and all the sensitivity that his masters have bred into him through generations of rape and coercion and highly unnatural selection. I was like, okay, so that lets me know that a lot
there's some
of,
oppression going on.
yeah, those not the words I would have used, but those words that you used didn't have cussing in them, so that's good. I was like, all right, so seems like it's listen, sounds like we was ready for a fight and they got one. So
Yeah,
for me, that was just like there was a moment there reading it the first time there it got about halfway through and I was like, okay, I'm not meant to like understand exactly what's happening. So I need to listen to this differently. And so
yeah,
I restarted it and listened to it again. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. This is really setting the stage for things that will be explained, I'm sure, throughout. But it's made me so curious. Like it built so much suspense just in the prologue that I love it so much. And reading it, so rereading it now, having gone through the entire trilogy, I'm just like, wow, the foreshadow is amazing. That's in
right.
this. It's like everything we need to know is right here, but we didn't know nothing. This is great.
It's because like you don't really understand what might have happened until after you read the first part of Essence, story. But
Yeah.
the prologue kind of sets you up for this, kind of destruction or like maybe a kind of apocalypse of some sort.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's what you know.
And then
That's what you
you
know by the end of the
and
prologue
it
for sure. There was an apocalypse.
yeah, and it hints at the Stone Lord. And this, you don't quite understand what the Stone Lord says until it starts describing like the process and you know the precautions you have to take when these things start to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I in how like Yeah, okay. We're going a little bit spoilery considering most people are still in the prologue. Maybe we should take it to the chat for a second to see you all in the chat. Where are you? And give us like a word or a sentence about how you're feeling right now. I did see, yes, Deja, me too. I'm making
Yeah,
a lot more connections. It's so fun knowing now. Drop the question and then maybe we can answer vaguely, or I'll be
yeah.
like, girl, DM me.
And Jerry is stumped. Oh,
Yeah. I think injury, I first of all, yes, it's NK.
yeah.
But I definitely like, yeah.
I
It's
think
like
she's all of us when we first started reading it. It's
mhm,
just a lot. You have to
yeah,
read a lot more into it than a lot of books.
yeah. It's definitely a, like just like a let go, just go with the
Yeah,
flow. Like don't try to take in the information, but don't try to necessarily think you're supposed to understand the prologue in reading it.
yeah,
But yeah, and Jerry, when I restarted the prologue the first time I was reading it, definitely like helped me be able to like much easierly move through the rest of the book. So recommend. hmm
yeah.
Regina Renee, I'm on page 8, so not too far ahead of you.
100% about what? Like, are we still talking about the prologue or the reread of the prologue? Because I know a lot of people have had to reread the prologue. Definitely, I know I had to.
Mhm. Yeah. This was the first book of N.K. Jemisin I ever read, and also the first trilogy. I've since read the Kingdom of Gods, and she does a fantastic job just like writing trilogies. That's all I have to say. I'm like, girl, I didn't even, from that first page all the way to the last page of the third book, I was like, you did that. You did that. You know how to write.
Um,
Let give you all your awards.
have y'all seen the master class yet that she's doing? That
I
she
have seen
did.
a commercial for a master's class. I haven't actually attended a master's class.
Oh yeah, I have access to it. I just haven't checked it out yet. When I heard about it, I was like, yeah, I'll watch it eventually. I'm
Oh my gosh.
honest. I'm honestly a little bit. I was intimidated by N.K. Jemisin because of the sheer power of everyone saying, "Oh my gosh, her world building and just the overall writing is just amazing." And I was just like, "Oh my gosh, am I ready for all of that? Am I really ready to take in everything that N.K. Jemisin has to offer?" Honestly, it stayed on that show for so long just because I was intimidated to even just dip a toe in. It
Mm-hmm.
was when someone said, "Oh," when Chloe said, "Oh, I'm planning to do a slow read," I was like, "Okay, definitely this time I'll actually pick it up." And everybody's just been like bragging about N.K. Jemisin for so long.
I like it. Very, very
Confused
accurate.
and
I think that's
excited.
exactly how she wants you to feel. I
It's like, what
feel
is
that
going
way
on?
again. Well, I feel excited all over. I have to admit I don't feel confused this time around just because I know what happens. But
Yeah,
it has been over 2 years now that I read the fifth season. And so I don't remember like every single detail. So it's just like full of excitement.
yeah.
Well, y'all's with the access to the master's class. Um, Watch that and then let us all know.
Okay, yeah. The foreshadowing
Okay,
is
I think her wow was related Misty's wow from
yeah,
earlier, or 100%. I mean,
100%. I agree because the foreshadowing, even though at first you kind of don't get it, when as soon as you start reading that first chapter, you begin to understand some of the correlations the in the prologue. So I definitely do understand that the world building is just amazing. All right. Let's see. Yeah, a lot of people are excited about Lee Bardugo. I've heard mixed opinions about her Grishaverse stuff, and I will definitely possibly check it out eventually, but not anytime soon.
yeah. And are you reading the 5th season right now? I think the name was El Dolto. With us. Yeah, drop that in the chat if you're reading the 5th season right now and what your thoughts
Yeah.
are. Misty said, but even when you're confused, I remember wanting to know who this person was and why they're doing what they're doing. Exactly.
Yeah.
And they kind of hint to it, but that passage that I read earlier, that's what I was like, okay, I'm ready to find out the why also.
Honestly, the first thing I thought was who killed Uche?
That's where that is the first thing, because that happens like immediately. And
Immediately.
it's like, oh my God. And when she mentions covering him with a blanket but not his face because he's scared of the dark, that
Yes.
part still made me sad. I was like, I read it the first time, it made me sad. Reading it this time, it almost made me cry now because I have even more context.
Yeah.
I was just like, don't start a story like this, ma'am.
Yeah. The prologue and the appendix, thank heavens she put that in there because I would be so lost.
Geraldine, like Matt. So the first time I went through this, I was only listening to the audiobook. I didn't have the physical copy. And I had heard there was an appendix and some definitions and stuff. And I was like, I guess I just have to listen real hard because I don't got nothing to reference back to. So it's gonna be great having it this time. Anyone? And Jerry, yes, the Stone Eaters, they do sound very mysterious. The way that
Yeah.
the one that we've been introduced to so far is described as like this statuesque
Yeah.
being who could pass as human from far away,
Yeah.
but as soon as you look a little bit harder, it's like disturbingly not.
Right.
Yes.
So
Anybody else have some other thoughts that they want to share right now, or do you want to get into another sprint?
very creepy because like the
Very.
way that it shows up, it's just like, did it come out of like an egg of some sort? What is this? And why is it like, yeah, it was just weird. Just how it landed, how it opened up the earth and all of this stuff. I was just like, okay, what is going on? What just jumped out of this thing? And why?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, and Jerry, I just want to note that with the first sprint, you were one of the people who said 15, but see, now you're on board with the longer sprint. I see you, and I agree.
Well, I just changed it to a 30-minute sprint. And let me see. So
Oh, also, as we're switching, I just saw Misty's comment about a magic system based on geology. I had never
yeah,
considered this. I am obsessed with it.
yeah, definitely. It's definitely something I would have never. It's definitely a concept that I would have never thought to see in a book or even think that I would need. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those
Mhm.
things where you're just like,
The
yeah,
closest thing to it that I have like experience, consuming is like the earthbenders and
yeah,
but this is like so much more epic. This
yeah.
is so much more epic.
And it's black people. Like, come on now. Like,
Hmm.
I'm not gonna give away the lineages or anything like that because you get into that later. But uh, I would have never thought.
Right? Okay, yeah. This seems like a good time to start the next sprint. Let's
Yeah.
do it. We're all really excited about it now.
All right. Happy reading, guys.
All right, see y'all in 30.
All right, that was our 20 minutes.
Welcome back, everybody. Oh. JK, I don't know if y'all heard me say welcome back. How was your reading?
Whew, it's getting strange, to say the least.
Maybe I know you're a bit farther ahead of most other people in the chat today. So maybe share with us like where you are and then just like something you're feeling, but nothing too specific about the plot.
Well, I'm with Esun right now, and she is traveling with a guest of sorts.
What chapter are you in?
Chapter 7.
Gotcha. Oh, you wrote it in the chat, I see.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then so how are you feeling?
I am interested to see what all of this boils down to, because you're getting so many different you get so many different points of view, as far as the different origins that you encounter throughout the story. So I'm pretty positive that somewhere they're going to cross some type of path, and I'm very much looking forward to what happens when that happens.
Awesome. Well, I just finished chapter 1, and I'm planning on stopping here for today, but I'll be up to chapter 5 by next weekend for the next sprint. Oh yeah, to answer Indira's question, I know you answered in the chat, read at your own pace. Yes, everyone please read at your own pace, but when you're joining the sprints, just know probably up to whatever chapter we're starting on, spoilers are free game. So if you haven't gotten to chapter 5 by next week, you will probably get spoilers. But reading through chapter 1 just made me think a lot about trauma and how we process the events that are happening in our lives in real time when they're happening. And how it's very clear that this isn't Essen's first time experiencing trauma.
Yeah.
It's such a she's so conscious of the way that that she's intentionally not trying to not process, trying to not think,
Yeah.
to kind of protect her mind right now. That I'm like, oh, the level of self-awareness. I'm like, this is not your first time
Yeah.
experiencing this. And it's been, I don't know, it also made me think a lot about the past year and just the extreme levels of trauma and the various ways in which I've processed that, and I know people in my life have been processing that or not processing that in the moment and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that's where I am at with chapter one. Leaving chapter one. What are the thoughts in the chat right now? What are you guys thinking? Where y'all at? How are you feeling?
So, I don't remember exactly what happened in chapter 3, but I don't think I want to give away too much just because a lot of people just haven't gotten there yet. Uh, but yeah, oh yeah. Okay. I remember now.
They should
But
tell us how
yeah.
you're feeling about chapter 3, or at least where you are right now up to that point.
I think chapter 3 is just I feel chapter 3 is just the planning stage, basically. Cause like after she's found by what's his name?
Lorna.
The doctor. Lorna, yeah. Yeah, you kind of get this tension between them because he's always known who she is. But then also um this air of knowing that she will no longer be welcome in a place that she's been for so long. But then she's also thinking in the back of her mind, like, when I find Jija, I'm gonna lay hands.
Okay. On site. It's on site. Listen,
it's like,
I remember the entire. I'm worried with her. Like I'm back to on site right now. I'm like,
right. This is like chop chop.
We coming. We
Two
is
chops to the
on
neck.
the way. We is on the way to ladies' hands. Yes.
But yeah, that trauma it's definitely embedded in her. I feel like not only has she been turned away by comms in the past because of who she is and what she is, but I also feel like her family might have maybe thrown her out after finding out as well, like many origin families do. They kind of, throw that child out. And yeah, her trauma is just so, honestly, it's just so deeply woven into the story that you can't ignore it. It's there. And like you see, even after she realizes that Uche, who might have killed her son, she's just like, okay, so he must have found out something.
Yeah, and then one comment that Njeri made in the chat a little bit before we actually came off of the sprint is that so Njeri wrote, I love that at its core, this is a story about a mother's grief. And yes, I think that is a great way to phrase that. And it is, and it's very because it's a very emotional read too, even though there's like all this cool sci-fi stuff happening in fantasy,
Yeah.
yes, but also this
At
story
its
is like
core.
emotionally intense because at its core it's about mother's grief,
It's
who just
at its
lost a
core is a
child and is looking for her other missing child who's with her murderous
yeah.
husband who had just killed their child because he found out what that
He
they
was capable
are
of.
origins,
Yeah.
and that in and of itself is a reason enough to kill a 3-year-old, like a reason enough
Yeah.
to murder him. And like she also there's a point in chapter 1 where she says that and she's talking about, kind of, she's thinking about this but not trying to think about it, where she's like her children are like her, like he killed her because her children are like her. So I think with that sentence alone you also get a sense of that she's also dealing with like guilt around that.
Yeah.
So yeah, very, very interesting
And
story.
also there's a build as well because at first you don't understand what she is or
Yeah.
the
And I think at this point,
context.
we like a lot earlier in the first couple chapters, you just like, okay, so you're like, all right, so she's saying she's an origin, her children are origins. People call them terrible names
Horrible.
like Raga, and that uh, clearly there's a lot of like prejudice and violence against them. But you don't know, and that it has something to do with being able to save this town
Yeah.
from the shocks of this traumatic earthquake. That's not really a lot more than an earthquake, but yeah, let's go. Let's maybe talk about what Deja's comment is. So, what do y'all think about the use of second person for Essence POV? And I would add on top of that, what are your thoughts about the changing like POV
Yeah.
chapter to chapter?
That it kind of threw me a little bit, especially once you get to Demea's story.
Mm-hmm.
Cause like you have, that second person for Essen and for everybody else, it's like an omniscient, storyteller telling this story. But for Essen, you get this like very I feel like the second person is an intimate look at what Essen is going through, but also not too intimate because it doesn't give everything away because you are literally getting this like emotion from reading it that way that you probably wouldn't have gotten it if you would have read it any other way.
Yeah. And so, in addition to that, my thoughts are just I'll talk from the prologue and chapter 1 perspective.
Yeah.
So the way that I receive this book is that it feels like a oral, like it feels very oral tradition. It feels like someone's
Yeah.
literally telling me a story. And so in the first chapter, or in the prologue, it's very clear, like this person they're literally talking directly to you. It's like, this is what's happening, I'm telling you this because you need context, I'm telling you this because you need context. All right, now back to this person who I originally introduced. Remember how I said that this person's child has died? You are this person. Like that's how they
Yeah.
start chapter 1. It's like, remember Essen? Yeah, you're Essen, and this is
Yeah.
what has happened to you. And I think because her story is told that way, it puts you right into her emotional seat. At least it does for me. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I am this person in this story. All these things that's happening to her, I'm reading them like they're happening to me. I
Yeah.
don't know if this happens to you, but when I watch TV, when I watch movies, when I play video games, I'm like, you're like choosing the character. I'm like, oh, if I was in this world, this is the character I would want to be.
Yeah.
With this story, the way NK writes it, she kind of like, no, no, no. I want you to be this character, and I want you to think about everything that's happening in the context of you being her. especially since this story, like Injury said earlier, is at its core about a mother's grief, her loss of a child, her missing
Yeah.
child. So it's like, I think it does a very good job as centering you in that, like centering that part, the story, so that you don't get lost in the other
Yeah.
things that are happening.
I feel like it helps you to draw that emotional connection as well. So it's just like you're feeling this grief and everything because you're looking at this as just like she just lost her child. Like, I know if I was in that position, it'd be like, yeah, we gotta find him. And I don't want him to die easily. I don't want to put him out of his misery too quickly. I want to torture this guy. Like, he does not deserve to be put out of his misery so easily.
I mean, he did beat a 3-year-old to death, so which is not a very easy death. So, also, I'm not a nonviolent person, so I'll save my comments.
It's like
yes, reading it at this historical moment. Yes. I'm liking everything so far. I do like the way grief is explored. I'm accidentally comparing it to Legendborn since I just finished. It's interesting to see a mother's grief versus a child's grief. That is interesting. I've started Legendborn. The library took it away from me, so I didn't finish. But I'm hearing what you're saying. I'm hearing what you're saying, Deja.
Yeah. It's been sitting on my shelf for so long. I need to eventually pick it up.
Well, not that long. It's a recent release, so I don't think you should feel bad.
Yeah.
Deja. But I'm also like the ending of this book and the mother's grief hits harder reading this again because of spoil. Oh, yes. Deja, you read it already. I'm right there with you. Okay.
All right, let's see.
You do not know who the first person in the prologue, the first person narrator is, and I'm not going to say because it is a spoiler.
Yeah.
Hey, Noria. Noria likes it, likes the Essence second person POV. Yes, agrees with what we were saying, helps you stay rooted in the present.
Yeah.
Gives us the opportunity to be in her skin, be with her in the person, getting hit with the circumstances the way Essence is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I definitely felt numb when she felt numb. Like this act of blocking out the outside world for 2 days and then realizing what might have actually happened.
Yeah, so Deja says, I feel like the second person helped me empathize more because it was like it placed me in Essence's shoes by addressing me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Noria also said it's especially powerful when you consider that a lot of discourse people say is when you want to really understand what a marginalized person is going through, you have to put yourself in their shoes. I agree with that.
Yeah, definitely.
And this is talking about a marginalization that like doesn't exist in the world that we live in. So it also helps contextualize that for this world that we've been placed in. NK puts us in, so Noria continues with, and NK puts us in her shoes. This is what it means like to be marginalized in the stillness. Exactly. The loss of your child in a place where you cannot grieve because of the othering people like you to face.
Yeah, definitely. Especially when she's like leaving the calm.
Mm-hmm.
And as she's trying to leave, they're still trying to like kill her.
She said, okay, she said, try me if you want, okay? Do you not see me leaving?
I'm out. I'm not bothering you. Leave me alone.
Some people listen, you get them hands when you come looking for them. That's all she said.
Or as Chloe said, you come looking for trouble. Basically, what did she say? I forgot what she said. She said something funny, and we were just like, yeah, you don't want to mess with certain people.
You don't
Like,
want to mess with me. That's
yeah,
what she said. She said, "Run up, get done up." Okay.
right.
I really like Essence, so I'm
Yeah,
glad that we're her in the story also.
it's like,
Mm-hmm.
um. So, what do you think about like the curse words that she came up with to
Oh,
make this world
that is
work?
for real, for real. If we talking about like little things, that's my favorite. That is my favorite thing. For all of 2019, I used the curses out of this book. The amount of times I said evil earth, and
The mark of a true
nobody
nerd.
else I knew had read this book, so I literally was just saying curses from this book that no one understood. And I was just
Like,
like,
people are like,
fire
what?
under earth, evil earth.
What?
It's
Like,
the best.
like burning earth. This is like, what does that mean?
It means what it means, okay? You heard what I said. You heard the WTF in that. I know you did.
Right.
All right. What else is happening in the chat? Yes. Noria and Jerry, I think, are agreeing with each other and what the core of the story is.
Yeah.
Noria, I'm sure you have very elaborate plans. I've heard
I
you
do too.
discuss.
I do too. It
Yeah,
involves excruciating pain in
I'm
very
sure it does.
specific parts of the body.
And increasing visualization. You do such a great job, Noria, at describing very vivid ways in which you hope that people die. Maybe you'll share that with us. Yes. And Jerry agreeing with the second person makes it personal and intimate. It's about me. You're so right. Back to Noria. So she's really thought about it. She said, I have some thoughts on volcanoes in a slow roast. This is
Oh, I got
related
some
to
thoughts
Gija's
too.
death. If y'all want to hear my thoughts, let me know. I think that
We may or
gave us a
may,
very vivid image. You just said volcanoes and slow roast. I'm pretty sure
yeah.
all of us got the visual there just now.
Mine may or may not involve waterboarding
Mm-hmm.
and specific tools that have to do with fingers and toes.
Yeah.
But
Shout out to y'all nonviolent people who might not be enjoying this part of the conversation, but he's a fictional character, and it's kind of satisfying to think about when Essen catch up to him, how he gonna get done up.
All right, bye, Jerry. We'll see you
Bye,
later.
Jerry. Thanks for coming. Hope you'll join us again. Speaking of, I think we've been on for about to be 2 hours here in 9 minutes. Do we want to wrap up with any final thoughts or anything?
We should have some fanfic about how we gonna kill Jija.
Yo,
that needs to be a thing.
That I'm like, yo, that could be a thing though. I mean, I'm not a writer, but I know there's some writers amongst y'all who try to write that fanfic. I will read it. Okay, let me know. Let me know.
Chop chop.
DM me the link because I'm gonna read it. Please, Noria, I'm sure you can write a lovely thing.
Right. We love to see violent fanfic.
I love that you all are also in agreement. Yes, thank you.
The thing about it is we talk about violence, but we don't actually go through with any actual violence. I think that is very good of us, on
Yeah.
our part.
I
Because
mean,
we
it
don't
is
actually
because Gita's not real and we can't actually get our hands on him, but that's minor.
right.
That's
That's
minor detail.
it's not like we're in real life beating up on people because we're mad at a character in a book.
Yeah, because it wouldn't make sense to beat up some random person. They're not Gita. They
Right.
didn't do it. You got beat up Gita. He the one did it. Okay. Also,
I'm
that just made me
non-violent
think of
sometimes.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier. If anyone's watched that, but I digress. Um, who doesn't go through with it? JK. Plausible deniability. So I didn't even see that comment. That's all. They're not gonna have me testifying against you. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
I wasn't there. I ain't hear nothing.
So but yeah, I am definitely enjoying the story so far, and
Mm-hmm.
I am looking forward to reading more of Essun's story because I feel that it's about to get very interesting because she has just ran into a very interesting character.
Yeah, I remember that. I'm gonna catch up to where you are, but I remember that part.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this reread. This is going great. And I'm enjoying our community of co-readers here in the comments too. You all should make sure to join us next weekend. So
Yes.
next
I don't know who's doing it next weekend. It's gonna be
the next one is next Saturday. It'll be at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. It'll be on Chloe's channel, and it will
okay.
be me, myself, and Chloe.
Okay.
And we'll be picking up on chapter 5. So if y'all want to catch up to that part and start off on the same chapter with us, you can do that, or you can start wherever you are.
Yeah, that's what these sprints are for us
Mm-hmm.
to catch up on what we didn't do throughout the week. So that's why we have the sprints. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And then
if
you'll
y'all
be
don't
hosting your sprint on Tuesday at, you said 7
Tuesdays
p.m.
at 7, yeah.
Eastern.
Yeah, Eastern Standard Time.
So be sure to hop in on Ari's sprints too. Get you right. I
Y'all
think
are
with
very
that,
welcome for the sprints, and I hope everyone just has a good day for the rest of the day.
yeah.
So if
Everybody have a
all
great
hearts and
weekend.
minds are clear, benediction.
It's great. Okay, everyone. We'll see you all next week sometime, either on Tuesday or Saturday.
Right.
Bye, everyone.
Y'all have a good day.